You can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Just a yucky Monday out there. Cloudy skies, light fog, maybe a little drizzle, but not a lot of rain anticipated the rest of today. But that rain chance picks up again tonight with some showers and thunderstorms possible into Tuesday. The temperatures today in the mid-40s, overnight tonight near 40, but back to 60 degrees for the high on Tuesday. But again, we're looking for rain and storms and the possibility of a few strong or severe storms on Wednesday, especially later in the day into Wednesday night. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of Colombo and Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
Hello and welcome to Colombo and Company on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Tony Colombo here in studio with producer Ashlyn, kicking off what promises to be an extremely busy news week as we also kick off the month of March. What's the thing that they say about March? In like a lion, out like a lamb. In like a lion is spot on when it comes to today. Of course, we'll get you all the latest regarding what is happening between the United States and Israel and Iran. Operation Epic Fury. We'll get you the latest details on everything that happened over the weekend, what's happening today. We'll try to dig into some of the pieces of this story that I think are important and maybe haven't been as highly reported as some of the other things that are happening. So we'll get to as much as we can today and as we go through the week, of course. Other news, important news to talk about, also happening today. So we'll get into some of these other issues. We're going to talk to our big tech AI expert, Mike McClary, in about an hour from now, just after 3 o'clock. So that's going to be always interesting. Also going to talk to Paul Curtman from PR Curtman Investments in about 35 minutes. Going to talk to him, as we do every Monday, to get the start of the week check on the markets and the economy. We're still in a partial government shutdown, believe it or not. We've got these military actions happening. Does any of this have any impact on the economy? There's reports out that, anytime there's something happening in the Middle East, especially at this level, there's reports about the possible impact on gas prices and things like that. So we'll try to unpack some of that stuff when we get Paul Curtman on the line, again, about 35 minutes from now. And starting this crazy week with us, as he does every Monday afternoon at this time, News Talk STL contributor, former co-host Mike Ferguson in the morning. The great Gabe Phifer is on the line with us. Gabriel, here we go. How are you?
Happy Monday, my friend. So much to
Woo!
talk about.
So
Gosh.
much to talk about. So let's just start at the beginning because, I haven't been on the air yet. You and I haven't talked about this yet. I've obviously had a lot of conversations over the weekend with friends and family, but this is the first time that I'm able to have this discussion on the air with you or anyone else. How did this news hit you over the weekend when it was first revealed that this operation conducted by the Israeli military when it comes to the Ayatollah, at least, but with obvious U.S. cooperation and everything else that the United States and Israel have been involved in over the last few days. When that news hit, how did it hit you, and how do you feel about this operation as it stands right now as we start the week?
My honest exact first reaction to hearing about it was, oh, about time. And it was truly an honest reaction by me because the head of the Iranian regime has been a thorn in, I think, the entire regions and the whole world side for a long time. And I wasn't sure we were ever going to have an opportunity to actually take him out because of the intelligence required to locate such a high value target, things like that. But I think the reorganized Department of War seems to be doing really well when it comes to dealing with the errant world leaders out here. So I'm actually encouraged by this. I think it reshuffles the deck of global powers right now because we'd always talked about how it was Russia, China, and Iran that are the major global adversaries for the U.S. and our interests around the globe. And I think between Maduro's capture, that neutered China's ambitions in South America, I think, on some level. And then this move here, obviously decapitating the snake here in Iran, that's another major world power that's taken hit recently. I think, Trump's reorganizing the deck here, and I think it's coming out in a positive direction for America.
Yeah, and it's going to be really. And by the way, I agree with you completely on that assessment, and it's kind of how I am feeling as well. And it's going to be really important to see these next steps. It's going to be really important to see how the people of Iran respond, how the citizens there respond. We'll get into some of these details, but Donald Trump, calling, sending a message directly to the Iranian citizens saying, this is your chance, maybe your one and only chance, at least in, generations, to take back your government. So do it. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And, of course, the worry of the United States getting entangled in another long-term nation-building project, which I don't think, I don't think that is what the Trump administration is planning to do. But, you can't help but worry about this, having been down this road, specifically in the Middle East, in my lifetime and the last several decades. What do you think?
Now, in our lifetime, I think the two major problems that I think our generation has had with U.S. interventions in other countries is the failure of modern nation building. The last time we were able to rebuild nations in after a war was, I think, Korea. That was the last time we were able to do it successfully. And I think because we had a different stance, we didn't have the UN and the globally powerful liberal elites breathing down our necks, talking about all the things we're doing wrong and our rules of engagement and whatnot. So we were just doing what we needed to do to make sure the nation that arose out of the ashes of war was one that was friendly to our interests. After all that, nation building became a terrible slog that led to nothing, which we saw in Afghanistan. So, we're definitely wary of nation building. So got to stay away from that. And the other problem that we've seen is how do I put this? It's kind of a badly planned regime change. I'll say it that way, where the U.S. and I think this happened a lot in the 80s when we were trying to stop Russian advancement in third world countries. Afghanistan is actually one of those examples where we would train and arm a resistance against Russian invasion, and we try to get our hands in there and make sure we know who's in the leadership, and it always turned out badly for us.
Mm-hmm.
And more recently, we had the various the Arab Spring and the Cedar Rebellion and all these other things where we would remove a strong man and we'd end up with another rogue terrorist nation.
Yeah.
And those are the dangers. So long as we can keep out of those things, I think robust global use of Americans' military power is absolutely on the table and should be used in very strategic ways. And I think the last two major engagements we've seen, like I mentioned, Maduro and now Khomeini, I think those have, at least so far, seem to be conducted well.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think that to sort of add on to that, and how the importance of our next steps, as you just outlined there. I think that what happens here in the next months and weeks and months and first year or two of going forward with new leadership in Iran is more important, I think, than even what we've seen to this point. I think that is going to have more impact on our future, the world's future. And it's kind of the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. As horrible as the devil you know is, to your point, like in Afghanistan, if we just open the door for a even worse terrorist network or organization to come in and fill that leadership government void, are we even
and then arm them with our leftovers?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think that I trust Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth and this administration way infinitely more than I did the Biden administration in Afghanistan. So I don't think that that's what's going to happen. But it is really important that they stay on top of this, especially in these early days.
We also need to level set too, because I think that while the head has been cut off, the body's still going to be flailing. We've seen some of these retaliatory missile strikes and things like that. I've actually got a friend from church, who's over in Dubai right now. Airspace is closed. There were, explosions not too far away from where she was, literally, just, because of those Iranian retaliatory strikes. They were just shooting at everything, basically. So the body's going to be flailing a little bit. I think there's still more to be done. I think the U.S. may want to do a few cleanup operations to kind of defang their military a little bit. That might help the civilians to take control as well.
Talking to Gabe Phifer here, and I have just a stack of notes. So let me get to a few of these here, and like I said earlier, there's so much going on with this that I think it's important to try to discuss and inform people on all the information that we have. The big headlines obviously will continue to dominate most of the conversation, but there's so much going on that I just want to kind of fill in as many of the details as we can. So going back to Saturday and the initial strike, Donald Trump told Fox News today that the U.S. and Israel killed 49 of Iran's most senior leaders in the opening strike of Operation Epic Fury on Saturday morning. Epic Fury, by the way, just a perfect Trump name for an action like this.
Trump military name, isn't it?
The only thing that would have been even like a step further would be Operation Trump Fury, which don't be surprised if that was actually discussed and
it was on the table
and put out. Yeah. Trump made the statement in an interview today on Fox News with Brett Baier, saying that it was, quote, amazing that the U.S. had the information it had about the meeting of top Iranian leadership. Yep. Trump said that the Ayatollah was meeting with his inner circle for breakfast on the morning of the attack, thinking they were safe because it was broad daylight. Quote, it was 49 leaders that were taken out. That was going to take 4 weeks, we thought, to get rid of the Iranian leadership. And as always, if they hide, it's a lot longer than 4 weeks. And they would have been hiding. We were shocked when we heard what was going on. We knew exactly what was happening and where it was happening. So you've heard that, you've heard that the brashness and confidence of the Ayatollah was one of the main factors that played into his demise, and the president sort of explaining that piece of why that sentiment is out there with that statement. Israeli officials state that the U.S. Israeli mission in Iran has two main goals. Israeli government said today that the first of the two goals is to remove existential threats such as Iran's ballistic missiles that were rapidly being repaired following last year's Operation Midnight Hammer, which targeted key Iranian nuclear sites. The statement from Israel said that these missiles are, quote, capable of sending those missiles into the heart of our cities, into hospitals, and must be destroyed. Of Iran's nuclear program, the Israeli government added that there are still, quote, components that need to be removed. The second goal of the mission is to create conditions to change the regime in Iran, as we were talking about. Quote, we are well aware of the fact that not the IDF and not the U.S. Army is going to replace the regime in Iran. It's up to the Iranian people, who have now the biggest opportunity in the last 40 years plus since the beginning of the revolution, to do something in order to create a different reality in Iran and regain their freedom. That was from the Israeli government again, and as I mentioned a moment ago, and as we were discussing, the president, Donald Trump, chimed in on that exact issue as well on Saturday, encouraging the Iranian people to take over their government once the U.S. and Israel finished combat operations, telling them to, quote, seize control of their destiny. He said, quote, speaking directly to the people of Iran, the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. So let's pause there and get your thoughts on the statement there from the president and from the Israeli government. It does sound like they are very coordinated on the same page, which is a good sign.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sure the Ayatollah and his minions were surprised that with the continental breakfast you also get cruise missiles. But so
wouldn't you have loved to just see? I hope there was at least a few seconds of realization of what was happening to him, because this man murdered so many people. I would have just
loved. He was such a terrible, destructive, evil son.
I know. I would have just loved to see, and I hope that he did before he met his demise. I hope that there was some realization of what was happening to him as it was going down. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. But I think this is it. This, I think, for several generations now, since the 70s, really, since the revolution in the 70s, this has been the first real opportunity for the civilians to take back their government. I think the younger people, they know what's out here. They know the type of freedom that exists. They know it's something that can be grasped. That now, whether or not they can get themselves organized enough and have a leadership system set up to fill the power vacuum is another question. The other aspect of this is we're going to have to contend with the hangers-on from the previous regime, because the people who were in power are going to want to hold on to that power. So it's going to be a tough road, I think, for whatever new regime wants to rise up in place of the current one. But hopefully the destruction that we're going to rain down upon the existing forces will be enough to give them a chance.
Talking to Gabe Phifer. When we get back, I want to talk about some of the reaction on the left from Operation Epic Fury. Unfortunately, no surprise from some of these outlets and some of these politicians. Hakeem Jeffries predicts failure for the United States. Way to be a team player, you jerk. We'll tell you what the minority leader has to say. Also, the Washington Post is being slammed on social media today for basically painting a very positive, jolly picture of who the Ayatollah was in their obituary that they printed. So, unbelievably, even when something as big and as important as this has gone down, you still have this backlash and this crazy rhetoric coming from the left. And one last thing here before we go to break. A fourth U.S. service member has been killed in action. That's why this is so important as part of Operation Epic Fury. That latest announcement of a fourth service member being killed came a little bit earlier today. Service member yet to be identified was among those seriously wounded during Iran's initial counterattacks after the U.S. and Israel launched the operation on Saturday. So we need to keep those, that we've lost in mind as well, and it just adds to the depth and importance of what we are talking about. We're going to continue the conversation with Gabe Phifer next.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
They're literally taking the Constitution and putting it in a paper shredder.
News Talk STL.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for the Great Window World. Just over the last 20 years of Window World being in St. Louis, they've improved the look and thermal efficiency of more than 76,000 customers in St. Louis. Plus, Window World windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And now Window World is now offering 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. Call them today at 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800.
Are you a proud American? Then join us for the Lincoln Trump Dinner, March 20th at Old Hickory Golf Club in St. Peters, hosted by the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee. The evening features a VIP reception, dinner and program with live music by the Comparito Trio. Register online at stcharlesgop.com. Don't miss this celebration of America's 250th year, the Lincoln Trump Dinner. See you March 20th.
There's something magical about walking into your backyard and knowing your family is completely safe and secure. Hi, I'm Sean Long, owner of STL Fenceworks. That's the feeling my team and I have been creating for metro area families for more than 50 years. Whether you're adding your first fence or finally creating the outdoor sanctuary you've always wanted, we offer premium vinyl and stunning ornamental options, all designed around your family's specific needs and lifestyle. While other companies struggle with supply delays and rising costs, we've always proudly used all American-made materials, which means better pricing and faster installation for you. Our experienced craftsmen exemplify our motto, your satisfaction is our passion. From Warrenton to Wildwood, your neighbors trust us because we live here too. And we care about your project as much as you do. Right now is the golden time to build with flexible financing options and a commitment to completing your fence on time and on budget. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
The story behind the story when North Korea commandeered a U.S. naval ship taking more than 80 hostages.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. This hour of Colombo Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.994.1 News Talk STL. Continuing our conversation with Gabe Phifer here, News Talk STL contributor, former co-host of Mike Ferguson in the Morning. Can't think of a better person to talk to help unpack and start this crazy week than Gabe. So, Gabe, thanks again for your time, as always, my friend.
Absolutely.
Before we let you go, we are going to change topic. Like I said, there are other news and headlines to talk about today. And the city of Cincinnati is the latest city to be heavily entertaining the idea of reparations for its citizens. And there's a big advancement of that starting the week. So before we go, I do want to get your thoughts on that. But let's speaking of ridiculousness, let's look at some of the other side of the reaction to the U.S. and Israel's operations in Iran over the weekend. Let's start with the Washington Post, who's being slammed on social media for its obituary of the Ayatollah. Washington Post described Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, who was killed on Saturday, as having a bushy white beard and an easy smile.
Oh, jeez.
They said, quote,
Are you serious?
I'm serious, quote, with his bushy white beard and an easy smile, Ayatollah Khamenei cut a more avuncular figure in public than his perpetually scowling but much more revered mentor. He was known to be fond of Persian poetry and classic Western novels, especially Victor Hugo's Les Miserables.
Oh my gosh, I hate these people.
That was the Washington Post obituary.
If you look, however much you hate the media, you don't hate them enough.
Yeah,
it's not enough, because these people are they're trying to make this guy who sanctioned the suppression of their own people, of his own people, in some of the most brutal ways in modern history, and they're trying to make him sound like freaking Santa Claus sitting at a desk reading Hugo.
Yeah.
Come on.
With his bushy white beard and easy smile, kind of like Santa Claus.
Yeah, that's Santa Claus.
You know how I've complained, and you and I have talked about this many times, how it's so stupid how everything is Nazi and everybody is Hitler. Like, it's just so overused, like calling, everybody's a Nazi and everybody you don't like is Hitler. And we say, talk about how, like, that is just, it's never an accurate comparison, and it's a dumb thing to do. You know what? In this one case,
it would have been
the Hitler comparison actually works. Somebody who murdered thousands in his lifetime, maybe tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands. And we've got the Washington Post saying, with his bushy white beard and easy smile, Ayatollah Khamenei cut a more avuncular figure in public. I had to look up, I'm not afraid to say it, I had to look up avuncular. You have any idea what that means?
Yeah. Vaguely. Just from contextual phase, like kind of easygoing.
It's like a familial, an uncle, like looking at having a relationship or looking at somebody as like a family mentor, but not a parent, like an uncle that's a family mentor. So a very positive word there, avuncular. And then to talk about his likes. Fond of Persian poetry and classic Western novels. I mean, are you kidding me? You know what else he was fond of? Torturing and killing innocent people. Yeah.
Where's
that part?
Somehow they missed the mentions of the gays being thrown off roofs and the women being burned alive because they weren't wearing their hijab exactly right. It's like for some reason the left, who are supposedly champions of both of those groups, do not find anything wrong with humanizing, like they like to say, an individual like Khomeini, while at the same time they'll say that your misgendering of I don't know, some sitting congressman or something like that is somehow akin to a genocide, just like the Nazis. That they will literally make the same sort of comparisons in that way, while an actual murderous dictator figure exists in the world, and they refuse to say anything bad about him.
And then in U.S., so that's in the U.S. media. Now in the U.S. politics, in the House of Representatives, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries predicted failure for the U.S. in an interview today after the U.S. and Israel carried out their strikes against Iran over the weekend, saying, quote, on CNN, of course, saying, quote, the American people want us to focus on making their lives better and making their lives more affordable, not getting involved in another endless war in the Middle East that is going to end in failure. This administration somehow found the resources, has found billions of dollars for bombs, but they can't find any money to actually bring down the high cost of living here in the United States of America. And then he goes into Article 1 of the Constitution and saying that the president can't
Hold
do
the
this.
phone.
Yeah, go please.
1 second. Is he saying this guy who presided, along with Joe Biden, one of the worst declines in buying power, American buying power, and now has watched that slow to an absolute halt in the current economy.
You mean the reason why we have a high cost of living here in the United States that he's complaining about? The one that he caused?
And when the president said, "Hey, we should focus on the everybody who thinks that we should focus on the American people and not illegal aliens," he was sitting on his let me be polite here, his rear end, and now he wants to say, "Oh, well, you got money for bombs." Yes, we do. That's literally one of the primary jobs of the federal government is to deal with international.
We didn't just
issues
buy
with
them
our military
on Friday to use them on Saturday, by the way. We have bombs, believe it or not. It's not like he went out and bought them all, right before launching this attack. He goes into the whole thing about only Congress can declare war and how this, Trump shouldn't have been able to take this action. And while I still do believe that is the proper, war, if you're going to declare war, that should be something that can't be done, unilaterally by the president or any one person. However, could you imagine, as we talked about in the first segment, when we were reading, and I was reading the Trump statement over the weekend about how they got this intelligence that the Ayatollah and all of these leaders, 50 of them, were gathering in the same place to have breakfast, and how Trump even said, like, couldn't believe it. That they were, that they were going to all be in the same place at the same time, and we could launch.
And we knew about it. We knew exactly where and when it was going to happen.
Yeah, and could you imagine after getting that intelligence, which was probably a matter of hours, maybe even less than that,
minute.
Ahead of time, if the president would have to go to Congress, and say, look, they're going to be meeting in about an hour and a half. Yeah. Can we launch a strike, to take them out and wait for Congress? Wait for Mazie Hirono to weigh in? Are you freaking kidding me? Wait for Hakeem Jeffries to give the go ahead? Are you kidding me? So
also it would be broadcast on C-SPAN.
Yeah.
So the moment it happened, the Iranians would be like, "Oh snap! I guess we are actually all in one place." And somebody knows about it. Maybe we shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And there goes the operation. So there's some sticky wickets there. And yes, I'm with you. I do prefer the power to wage war or to be kind of ensconced in Congress. It's the closest body to the people, supposedly, right? So that's supposed to be a representative that check is supposed to be there for us the people. So we don't have a president who can just go off willy-nilly and get us entangled in wars. But these are the types of situation, I think, where there have already been these various war power laws put on the books to allow presidents to act speedily.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as though we have to mobilize a navy and it's going to take us a month to get there to wage war to begin with. Either, so we're also living in a different time. This is one of those other instances where I think the left has a point when they say the Constitution was written for people living in a different time. In that case, they might have a somewhat of a point. That's no reason to throw it all out, by the way. But I think we need to revisit some of those things, and I think that's one of the reasons why Congress has those war power authorization laws on the books, so that the president can respond quickly to some of those things.
Exactly. The whole declaration of war argument does not apply to this. Gabe, we're almost out of time, so we got to get you back soon to unpack this Cincinnati story a little bit more. But I want to get your quick thoughts on this. The Cincinnati City Council will consider early this month a reparations housing program that would use tax revenue on marijuana to fund a portion of it. This feels... Doesn't this feel like racist in some way? Like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know exactly. I can't, I can't
I feel like
exactly
Gen X
identify it, but yeah, right?
Gen X is the only one who can immediately identify this kind of bullcrap.
The city is expected to discuss the Cincinnati Real Property Reparations Program, a proposal co-sponsored by Vice Mayor Jan Michelle Lemon Kearney. How many names does this person have? And Councilman Scotty Johnson. The program would offer assistance to low to moderate income residents and any individual or family member of an individual who was prevented from buying a home due to discriminatory practices, according to the Cincinnati Inquirer.
Discriminatory practices
from the
that prevented people
1920s.
from buying okay.
Supporters of the proposal point out that the city housing policy from the 1920s that discriminated at the time against black residents from owning property. That's hence the reparations portion of this. I've been told that as a Christian male and being white but Italian, come on, that I'm not allowed. That I'm not allowed to talk about this. You are a man and Christian, but not white.
However.
So maybe you are. So I'd love to get your opinion on this. And like I said, we'll get you back on soon to unpack some more of these details. But your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, the revocation of my black card because I'm a conservative is still in pending litigation. But my understanding, though, is that this sounds like a 1990s Dave Chappelle skit. It's just like we're gonna tax the weed.
Yeah. We're going to use the weed money to give it to the black people. Like, this is right? It just doesn't feel right at all.
That's why I keep saying, like, okay, Gen X are the ones who immediately understand this bullcrap because we watched it parodied on our television in our formative years.
Yeah.
That sounds dumb.
Yeah.
It sounds,
that's great. But that's so, like what you just said, like, it hits us as a parody, but this is real life. This is the government of one of the biggest cities in the country. This isn't a joke. It's not a skit on Dave Chappelle. It's what's actually happening in the city of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on this, and we'll definitely unpack it more in the coming weeks. Gabe Phifer, as always, thank you so much for your time, my friend. We'll talk to you again very, very soon.
Hey, God bless.
Yeah, back at you, buddy. Great stuff there, and we are going to continue the conversation, continue to unpack the actions over the weekend in the Middle East, and going to get a perspective from the financial side of things. Paul Curtman from PR Curtman Investments joins us. We always talk to Paul on Mondays to get a market check, a beginning of the week market check and economic check. Has the weekend's actions had any impact on the way that the economy and the markets are responding as we start this week? We'll talk to Paul about that and more next.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
So my daughter got a flat tire over the weekend, and it's a weird one. It's in like the stem of the tire, and it's, obviously causing problems. And, anytime you have any vehicle problems, even if it is just a flat tire or something like that, you want to have somebody that you can trust to take care of your vehicle. And, there was a time when something would happen to one of our vehicles and I'd have a panic attack about how much is this going to cost and where can we take it and who can we trust. But, of course, all of that was erased when, I got to know Skip Weber and his team at Weber Chevrolet. For many years now, just like so many other St. Louis families, we have trusted Weber Chevrolet not only with purchasing our vehicles, but in taking care of our vehicles. The service department at Weber Chevrolet, to me, is what sets them apart from the rest. The reason why Weber Chevrolet year after year ranks number one when it comes to reputation scores and customer service rankings in the Midwest, because of the way they take care of you and your vehicles for the entire time that you have them. That is why Weber Chevrolet has been in St. Louis for nearly 125 years. You don't stick around for that long in the same community if you are not doing right by your customers. We trust Weber Chevrolet with our vehicles, not only purchasing them, but taking care of them. And my daughter's car will be there tomorrow at Weber Chevrolet. And I'm looking forward to getting it fixed and getting it put behind us. So if you're looking for a vehicle now, nobody's going to give you more on the price, give you a better price. Nobody's going to give you more on your trade-in, and nobody's going to take care of that vehicle for you for the entire time that you have it, better than the team at Weber Chevrolet. Check out what's happening at all 3 Weber Chevrolet dealerships at weberchevrolet.com.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but that when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that, the stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good, casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need, understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Producer Joey V from the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show here, reminding you, don't waste a buck on movies that suck. Tune in to Joey V's Movies Fridays at 5:45 for reviews you can trust. Brought to you by Harry J. Steakhouse in Moscow Mills.
Paul Curtman's Financial Update is brought to you by PR Curtman Investments, providing customized strategic guidance to help you build and protect your wealth. Learn more at prcurtman.com.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9 News Talk STL. Went a little long there with Gabe Phifer, so I want to jump right into the conversation with Paul Curtman from PR Curtman Investments. Paul, obvious first question for you this week, coming off of this massive military action in the Middle East. We always talk on Mondays to get a general market check at the start of the week and check on the economy, but obviously when something huge like this happens, the obvious question is what kind of impact has this had, if any, and could these actions taken by the United States military have on the economy in the coming days?
Yeah, good afternoon, Tony. I tend to think that we're going to see the markets wind up becoming a little bit more volatile, but if you just look at what's going on in the markets right now, you wouldn't think so, because when the S&P 500 opened up this morning, it opened up 80 basis points or 0.8% below its previous close. So when it closed Friday, well, it kept going down over the weekend because of the war, and then this morning when it opened, it was opening pretty far down. But then throughout the day, Tony, the market just kind of started ticking its way back up. At one point, we were almost 0.3% in the green. But if you look at it right now, right before the bell's about to ring and the market closes, it's just pretty much flat. I don't think this means that the market is just shrugging off the war. I think that right now the market is trying to make sense of how it needs to respond, and whether or not this lasts for 4 to 6 weeks, like President Trump said, or whether or not it goes 4 to 6 months, right? If there's one thing we've always learned from the government, their projections are never accurate. Yeah. So this could go 4 to 6 months. It could go, heaven forbid, 4 to 6 years. But we can expect to see some volatility around the pressure that's created in that region of the world. In the Middle East, there's a lot of shipping lanes and there's a lot of oil that moves there. And so I would say if we start seeing that money is beginning to shift into some of these traditional hedges against volatile markets, that could mean that the market is bracing and gearing up to for a little bit more volatility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. While I appreciate, I'm glad you brought that up because I hadn't talked about that yet. While I appreciate the president's timeline of saying that this is a 4-week plan, a 4-week operation. I know what he's saying. He's talking about, like this initial push and the removal of the regime and the removal of the nuclear program there in Iran. But much like George Bush landing the fighter jet with the whole mission accomplished, banner on the screen. Yeah. We were far from done when we declared mission accomplished in Iran or in the Middle East at that time. And so, the idea that this will be wrapped up in 4 weeks is obviously not going to happen. Maybe from the Operation Epic Fury standpoint of things, maybe that'll be over in 4 weeks. But this is going to obviously have an impact on the United States and on the world for a much longer time than that. And Paul, of course, anytime that there's volatility in the Middle East, anywhere in the Middle East, and let alone something at this magnitude, the worries and questions about gas prices become top of mind. And I've seen headlines today that, saying that gas prices could jump as tensions in the Middle East rise and threaten the global oil supply. What do you think about that concern, and how real and how possible is that to you?
That's very real. That's very possible. We've already seen oil beginning to rise towards $80 a barrel. So if there's more pressure put on this region of the world, where so much of the oil that we're dependent on as a globe, not just the U.S., but I'm talking about all the different countries that are getting their oil from the Middle East. As there's more pressure, as it begins to kind of find some bottlenecks and some choke points. I mean, already Iran said that they were going to shut down the Straits of Hormuz. And Tony, I used to operate in the Straits of Hormuz.
And they have shut it down, by the way. That was just announced not that long ago, minutes ago, really. That action has been taken.
In the Straits of Hormuz, all they have to do is just say it. I mean, the fact that Iran is at war and launching missiles to all these other countries, I mean, that Straits of Hormuz, I've been there, Tony. You can see the United Arab Emirates on one side, and you can see Iran on the other. I mean, it is so tight. If you are just going to be a sitting duck if you're trying to move oil in and out of there. So if Iran is the only country that doesn't want you operating there, guess what? No one's going to be operating there. So that could put a lot more pressure, and we could see the price of oil begin to rise even higher as more pressure from this war gets put specifically on that sector.
So, I'm glad you bring that up, because let's take a step back and just and explain this a little bit more, because when you hear or you see something in the news happen that's on the other side of the world, the United States is involved, but it's not, we're all still going to work. We're all still going to the grocery store. We're all still doing our thing. I think that there's, some people don't understand or question, like, why would that have an impact on, my grocery prices or how things, are happening here in the United States. And I think what you just, described about the Straits of Hormuz and how, the shipping lanes and production of goods and services can be interrupted. Like, just talk about how this could have an impact on the economy and why, that situation happens when there's a major military action happening in the world.
Sure. Well, with a major military action happening specifically in this region of the world, as much as the world is dependent on oil, let's go back in time. Let's go back just a few years. Do you remember when Pete Buttigieg was the Secretary of Transportation?
Unfortunately.
And
I do remember.
Yeah, right? You remember this? He was in France on vacation while our ports were just being clogged up, and we couldn't even get these ships that were sitting out in bays and harbors. They sat out there for weeks or months waiting just for an opportunity to get into the port so that way they could unload their goods so they could eventually make their way to some of our local stores like Walmart or Target. And so even some of those smaller everyday items that we've come to take for granted, hey, just go to the store and pick up another one. Hey, you can't find your can of bug spray, just go buy another one. They're cheap enough. Well, prices began to rise because we weren't being able to get these products to the store shelves. They just weren't making their way in. Now, put that on a much bigger, much more larger scale, much more important issue. We're not talking about cans of bug spray. We're talking about oil. And countries go to war over oil. So, when we see the cost of oil going up because of pressure in this particular region of the world, this could actually see the price of oil going up a lot higher. I don't think, and I hope it doesn't come to that, but we've seen it in the past. We could see it again because we need oil not just to run our cars. Tony, the plastic that's probably wrapped around the microphone that you're speaking into comes because at some point in time, oil probably came through the Straits of Hormuz. So we're talking about everything.
Does this also maybe like a side result of this shine a light on the importance of bringing manufacturing and jobs and all of these things back to the United States? The fact that we are so reliant on shipping and products coming from overseas, that when there is turmoil in the world like it's happening now, it can affect us more. Would this, in your opinion, be a good example of an argument for, bringing those jobs back and those industries back to the United States so we're not, at as much risk when something like this happens on the world stage?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Listen, you could almost kind of see the events of the last month playing out over the last few months because Secretary of State Marco Rubio has been talking about the Western Hemisphere. We got to secure the Western Hemisphere. I don't believe we would have launched this attack on Iran if we didn't previously already go into Venezuela. And so the whole Western Hemisphere, the fact that we're dealing with other countries who do not share the same set of values that we do, either in terms of freedom or just regular governance, or even religion, right? With the Ayatollah, of Iran, right? He's like the number one man in Islam in the world. So the idea that we could be dependent, that we can actually have jobs in America, that we can drill for oil in America off of our own shores is incredibly important. Unlike previous presidents, Joe Biden, who signs executive orders on his way out of office to bring all that to a grinding halt. It is incredibly important that we're able to do this. And so I think that a lot of these different ideas and concepts are actually at play in what we're seeing happen on the world stage today.
How spot on engaged with the news cycle is Paul Curtman? As you were talking there, Marco Rubio just wrapped up a press briefing discussing how the United States anticipated Iran shutting down the Straits of Hormuz and will be releasing more details about the administration's plan to deal with things afterward, but knowing that was going to be an issue. Absolutely nailed it, my friend. No surprise there. Paul Curtman from PR Curtman Investments. Really appreciate your time, as always. Sorry this was a little bit shorter than usual. Might have to get you back on later in the week as we continue to unpack all of this. Paul, thanks as always for your time.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, great stuff there. Again, if you need any help, direction with your financial future, whether you are closing in on retirement or a little bit younger and just want to make sure you're on the right financial path, check out Paul and his team, PR Curtman Investments. All right. As I mentioned, still lots of other things to talk about today as we continue to keep an eye on the Middle East. We're going to talk AI with Mike McClary next.
I've got Dr. Michael Lewis here, West Point graduate, physician, and retired Army colonel. Is considered the world's leading expert on the use of omega-3s for traumatic brain injury and concussions. Stuart Tomp brings over 30 years of experience in the supplement industry, brought $1 billion of products to the market, and has appeared in over 6,000 media interviews worldwide, and travels internationally and teaches on health.
Stuart Tomp here, and I've come across the biggest breakthrough in personalized nutrition I've seen in 25 years.
Dr. Lewis here. For the first time, we can measure cellular and gut health. So you can start testing and stop guessing and make decisions based on real data. I'm working with world-class scientists and physicians, and what they're doing is changing everything.
You can message me at elizabeth@statmedicalllc.com. That is Elizabeth at statmedicalllc.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is speaking to widening concerns that the U.S.-Israel strikes on Iran could escalate. He says, quote, "This is not Iraq. This is not endless." Meanwhile, foreign correspondent John Gambrell reports that the U.S. military is saying Kuwait mistakenly shot down 3 American F-15Es.
The United States military says that Kuwait has accidentally shot down 3 American fighter jets in that tiny country as they were engaged against Iran in open air-to-air combat. This shows just how chaotic the wider situation has gotten in the Middle East just days after the American-Israeli campaign against Iran started. Now, this attack in Kuwait saw the Iranians actually fly fighter jets themselves into that country alongside drones and missile fire. And the Kuwaitis mistakenly thought the American fighter jets were enemy aircraft. That's a
Correspondent Haya Panjawi reports on attacks on key oil plants in the Middle East.
Iran has expanded its attacks to regional oil infrastructure. Saudi Arabia's Ras Tanura oil refinery was attacked as world markets are already rattled by the fighting and oil prices have soared. Online videos from the site appear to show thick black smoke rising after the attack. Ras Tanura, which is near the city of Dammam in eastern Saudi Arabia, is one of the world's largest oil refineries with a capacity of over 500,000 barrels of crude oil a day.
Authorities say a gunman wearing clothes with an Iranian flag design and the words "Property of Allah" killed 2 people at a Texas bar. Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis telling KVUE it all began when a man in an SUV drove up near the bar.
At one point, he put his flashers on, rolled down his window, and began using a pistol shooting out of his car windows.
Authorities say they're looking at terrorism as a possible motive in the early morning deadly multiple shooting. More from townhall.com.
So my friends over at Pure Talk have been sending me customer feedback from consumeraffairs.com, where thousands of people rate and review the top wireless providers. Here, for instance, is a nice note from James in Raleigh, North Carolina, who writes, quote, "After hearing Micro's ad, we made the switch to Pure Talk, and we couldn't be happier. We went from spending $1,200 a year with T-Mobile to $420 with Pure Talk. Thanks, Mike. Switch today!" Exclamation point. Pure Talk is saving James $820 a year. And because he literally wrote the words "switch today" in capital letters with an exclamation point, I'm going to go ahead and dedicate this commercial to him. So folks, take it from James in Raleigh, North Carolina. Pure Talk can give you unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month on the same 5G service the big guys are overcharging you for. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. You'll also save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 to save an additional 50%. Thanks, James.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. More rain on the way. The first round comes in the morning. Tuesday, some scattered showers, maybe a thunder shower in the morning with a low of 38. In the afternoon, 57 with more scattered showers, but more rain to the north, less rain to the south. Then Wednesday's a First Alert weather day. While we have some showers in the morning, it's the afternoon to early evening we'll want to watch for an isolated severe storm or two. That is possible Wednesday afternoon to early evening with a high of 62. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, EIFS, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Fox News commentary with Craig Gutfeld. Next.
Progressive presents Heroes That Keep Truckers Going. Today's hero, all the furry four-legged co-pilots out there. Pets like Axel, Bandit, and Smokey, who may not understand humans but do listen to you rant about young people today for hours. Thanks, heroes. Know what else keeps safe truckers going? Saving an average of $6,181 when they elect to share their ELD data with us. Get a quote at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. 2025 National Average Safe Driver Enrollment Discount Savings for new Progressive customers. Excludes mandatory program participants. Not available in all states. Driving data could increase or decrease premiums at renewal.
Here's Greg Gutfeld.
I have to point out Ilhan Omar. She repulses me, and I'm trying to find out why, because she's not unattractive. She has an unusual amount and kind of anger. She has no right to that level of rage in the United States of America, the country who gave her a new life. It's not like she's a homeless Vietnam vet who can't get services and should be enraged at the government. She should be kissing the ground she walks on instead of spitting on it. And her anger also reminds me of the radical who, given power, would destroy you. She would show no mercy for you if you were below her. The look on her face is somebody who would step on your neck instead of giving you a hand. And that is not the kind of person we should have in our leadership. It's not the type of person we should have in this country. And if we find out that she screwed up on her immigration stuff, she's got to go.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
It's about time somebody stood up for true American values.
What this country needs is some backbone.
Finally, a president who wants to make real change.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Great stuff from Paul Curtman and Gabe Phifer in that 2 o'clock hour. Coming up in this 3 o'clock hour, going to talk to Dave Sylvester from Gutter Pros. He'll be with us in about 25 minutes from now. And we start the hour as we do every Monday afternoon with Mike McClary from Intervine, our big tech AI expert here on the show, who had the audacity to take a couple days off, and we didn't get a chance to talk to him last week. And just like in the news cycle, when it comes to AI news, just missing a day is so much happening and so much to catch up on. So, Mike, I hope you had a great break there, and it's great to have you back on. How are you, my friend?
Great. It was an awesome time. Spent a lot of time with one of my best friends down in Florida. Did a little talking about AI, watched the State of the Union, and then saw all heck break loose when I was flying back home.
So, we unpacked a lot of the situation over the weekend and where we're at with Operation Epic Fury in that 2 o'clock hour with Gabe and Paul, and we'll continue, obviously, to keep an eye on it. But I do want to get into some other issues with Mike as we go through this 3 o'clock hour. But to start there, from an AI standpoint, AI now is going to be part of the conversation, I think, of literally everything that happens, especially a major news story on the world stage. There is part of the headlines today is a video of this Israeli Defense Force pilot evading Iranian missiles over Iran over the weekend, and this video is wild, and it was released by the Israeli government, so I don't doubt its authenticity. However, there are questions, and it's been posited, like, oh, this is just AI, this is not, this isn't real, this is just propaganda, or these types of comments being made, which is we would have never had that. This is new. It's never been like this in the past when a country releases a piece of video like this that you would doubt its credibility or or how it was made or whatever it may be, which I just think is an interesting. It's not the biggest thing, obviously, attached to this operation over the weekend, but it is part of the story, and somehow it feels like that's an attack on the credibility of Israel and their military when you see these kind of things. How does that whole thing sort of hit you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is becoming a really big problem, and it has been over the past couple of years because one, the BBC now has a dedicated department just for debunking videos. They get so many videos in, because they like putting videos on like what's actually happening, and they can't do that because they have to go through this process of figuring out is this real or is this AI, and it's exceptionally hard to determine that right now. And imagine living in either one of those countries and you're trying to determine if it's safe to go outside for a little bit and you're seeing pictures and videos all over social media showing rockets hitting blowing up buildings and hitting airports, and you have no idea if it's real or not. I mean, I see it on my Facebook feed, even in the little Facebook reels, and I think about 2/3 of them are fake. And then you finally see them in the comments, fake, AI, fake. But at some point, you don't really know. You have no idea. And I tell you, one of the things that I've been seeing a lot is not even just AI videos. People are creating videos of video games because video games are so unbelievably realistic right now. They can create any scenario, and it looks like a real world scenario. And so, yeah, it's been an issue since that happened, but now it's even worse because it does create some security and safety concerns for families. And I don't have a solution for it right now.
Yeah, part of that video game, that's a really good example. Like people that will go on to crowdsourcing websites, fundraising websites, and put information about their quote unquote project. Like, we're building this video game and we need your help, funding the production. But look, we're so far along down the line. Like, here's some of the gameplay and here's some of the development that we already have. And they can post these videos that look like, beta gameplay that looks amazing, but it's not anything that they actually create. They created it in 30 seconds with ChatGPT.
No.
Not, with their expertise of coding and, making a video game. And then people
that's what it takes.
See that and they donate thinking like, man, these guys know what they're doing. That looks great. And, it's just not true. My default position these days, and I don't like this either. This is, I wish it wasn't this way, but much like every phone call that I get that is from a number that I don't recognize, in my brain, that's just automatically a scam. Could be anything.
I could have won the lottery, Tony,
exactly.
and I wouldn't even know.
It could be anything, but in my mind, if there's a phone number on my screen that I don't recognize, it's a scam, and they're looking to get me.
One of these times there's going to be a sheik really trying to give me $20 million.
Exactly. Right. And I'm going to miss my chance. But just like that, just like with the phone and phone calls, I'm that way with videos on the internet. My default position now is any video that looks incredible, even if I know that, even if it may be something that is possible or feasible, my immediate reaction is this is fake, and I have to start from that. It's kind of like, not guilty until proven innocent. You're guilty until you prove your innocence. It's the negative. You have to prove that it's real before I'll believe it. And I don't like that, but I feel like that's the safest way to proceed.
I think right now that is the way it is, and I have to believe, being the optimist that I am, it's in a couple of years at least. Hopefully, it's not going to be that way. We'll have ways to detect that because I don't like not answering my phone. Honestly, that's it's a great example. I don't like not being able to do that because I get so many scam calls. I am afraid I'm going to miss some kind of call from family or friend that's legit. Same thing with these videos. I'm afraid that I'm going to miss some real news story that I should be paying attention to, but I'm immediately dismissing it. So there has to be a way that it is not sustainable. And I think that in a couple of years, they'll have that figured out.
So several things that I want to talk to you about here. I'll let you pick where we start. Do you want to start with my disturbing haircut?
Yeah.
Or
okay. Yeah.
You want to start with that? All right. Well, I posted this picture on my Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk earlier today in anticipation of this conversation with Mike. In fact, I'll show you a picture here on the cameras real quick.
Ladies, be prepared.
If you're watching the show right now on Facebook or Twitter or Rumble or somehow on YouTube, if we're not kicked off of YouTube, don't go to YouTube to watch us. Stick with Rumble, Facebook, or Twitter. Show you a picture of when I was shaving my head last week. Can they see it? Not really. Is it too close, too bright? Yeah, I don't really know how to. Here, I can try to. I'll try to fix this. But go to my Twitter if you want to see it for sure. And you'll see that every year when I shave my head, so I have a shaved head most of the year, but when it gets to be about October, November, I will stop, shave my head. I'll let my hair grow for the winter until I can't stand it anymore, which is usually around this time of year, February, March. And every time I get to that point, I like to have a little fun. And I'll shave a mohawk in, or I'll shave, some kind of crazy hairdo and take some pictures because it's funny and my kids love it. So this year, this was just last week, I shaved the standard male pattern baldness, the horseshoe look. You know what I mean? And
I call him Larry from the Three Stooges.
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah. And I walked out of the bathroom and I said, "Hey guys, you ever wonder what it would look like if Dad was bald?" And everybody had a good time with how ridiculous I looked. And again, I just showed the picture on the live stream. You can go to my Twitter and see it. It's ridiculous. And joked about, hey, this is what it would look like if I was bald. And my daughters took, oh my God, let me take a picture. And that was it. And then I went back into the bathroom and finished shaving my head. And ever since that moment of saying the words bald, this is what I would look like if I was bald, what if Dad was bald, I've been getting hair loss ads. And the first one came while I was still shaving my head. I literally went out, talked, showed them, they laughed, took pictures, funny, went back in the bathroom, pulled up a podcast or whatever I was watching on YouTube, and one of the first ads that I got was for a hair loss treatment, which, by the way, I have never gotten those ads regularly before. So it wasn't like I was already on the list or in the algorithm, and they have persisted through the week, which is just amazing to me. I didn't Google anything. I didn't email anybody. I didn't text anybody. I didn't do anything digitally to attach me to hair loss or being bald or anything. And yet somehow I'm being, I'm now being inundated with these hair loss ads. The phones are spying on us, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I do have a few theories about how this could potentially happen. So one thing is, so who took the picture? So one of your kids took the picture?
Yeah, I think both my daughters did. For sure, my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter took that picture and had to send it to me because I didn't even have it to post. I had her send it to me earlier today.
Send it via text?
Yeah. But
and
today...
You are an Android?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. So two things. One, these are... I'm going to say combine these things are like give it a 20% chance of being the case. One, if either one of them use an alternative camera app on the phone, maybe they download there used to be a big thing like you could download a better camera app, better image editing things. Maybe that's the case, or maybe they use like the one that comes with Snapchat. It's a pretty good camera app, and I think those have it. The second you use a non-standard camera app, those have a million different terms and conditions where like they can use that for marketing purposes. That could be one of the things. Now I know it's not you, but we have a way to get back to you if that's it.
Yeah, well, we're on the same phone plan, so
yeah. Okay. So you're already, and you're also on the same home network. So the first one could be like if let's say Snapchat gets access to every single picture on the phone, which it probably does, then Snapchat's going to know like, hey, there's a picture of someone with male pattern baldness, in here. And then what happens is it doesn't target you. There's something called a household graph. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's a term used by a lot of marketing companies out there where they don't know the exact address of each individual phone in your house, but they do know your home internet IP address. And so they start targeting people in the house. And they do know, however, your device of how old you are. And so they're going to say, hey, we saw a picture in this house's IP address of a bald person. And then we know
it's
that
probably the middle-aged dude.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's exactly what it is. And they might even know pattern recognition, not your hair pattern, but like if you really do this every year on this time, they may tie that in and say, we saw a picture last year of him shaving his head this way.
Well, last year I think it was a mohawk though. So
well, just the opposite then.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's seeding it too well down the middle. But those two things, like the phone camera app and also this household graph, you can look up, it's a real term marketing companies use, could tie into that. And then the other thing is the text message. Like I think we talked about this in the fall.
Yeah, but she
Google's
didn't send the text
updated-
message until today, and this was a week ago.
Well, but they may be looking into the future.
Yeah.
And they, let's just kind of assume they're using quantum something to look into the future. And no, she was going to text it to you. They could use it. I don't know. That's the best I could do. The camera app.
At
and
least
the home,
that is
the
some way to
app.
connect it to a digital, ad
Footprint, yeah.
gathering, footprint, because it feels to me like the only way that I could have gotten that ad so immediately with me taking no digital action in any way is that just the fact that the phones are listening and they're listening for keywords, and I've had it happen.
I still think that's the case.
Yeah, I do.
As much as I tried to think of a way, I still think they're listening. I still think they have these
I had another similar incident over the weekend, but it was more explainable because I looked up. We needed to get something for our beta fish, so I looked up like Petco, PetSmart near me, because I didn't. This is the first time we've gone somewhere in our new house. I didn't know where the closest one was, and then immediately started getting ads for pet care things, But I did Google it, but still, just crazy how that happens. Talking to Mike McClary from Intervine. One more thing I definitely want to talk about with you is this video that you sent me. We've talked a lot about AI and chatbots being in our lives. We've done goofy stories about people, claiming to be in relationships with their AI chatbot, and just how much some people connect with them and use them for everyday life. There's a new, I'll let you explain it, but there's a new product out there that basically when you activate it, it looked to me like it on your phone screen, the picture of your chatbot, your companion is on there, and it can get very flirty. Like a man, if a woman has a man chatbot and they're you're turning it on for the first time that day, the chatbot will start with something like, "Hey there, cutie, looking good today." How, whoa. So yeah, you go ahead.
Both
Explain
wear
this
our
new
green
product.
jacket.
Yeah, right,
yeah. So this is a product aimed at gamers. The company is called Razer.
Okay.
They do make some great gaming products. Some of the best, mice out there for gamers. All kinds of gaming devices. And so this one is called Ava. It's called Project
Razer?
Ava,
Is this like the old
AVA.
phone company that made the Razer phones that were so popular back in the day, or is this a different?
It's spelled the same way, so it could be. I have not tied those two together, but they're tech, and I bet they had to expand because
Those Razer flip
is
phones back in the day were the coolest.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I had one of those. I thought it was so cool. I wasn't.
I wonder if it's the same company.
But so they make all kinds of gaming stuff, and I know that you saw the little phone app picture, but what they also have, the main thing is this about 8-inch holographic image you keep next to your bed. It's a little stand that has a real 3D hologram in it of that person, of this girl named Ava or this guy, I don't know what his name is, talking to you. It's your alarm clock. It wakes you up. Say, "Hey, hope you had a good night's sleep. You were snoring a little bit," because they can sense things like a smart watch. But that kind of context, this little little woman telling me that I snored the night.
This is a separate device that you.
It's a separate device.
If you get this product, you plug this little separate device in, and it puts the. Because I did see it. I think now that you say that, I realize that I think some of the commercial that I did see was the hologram and not just somebody's phone sort of propped up there. And so you just plug this in wherever you're at, and then your little hologram.
Take it with you to work. Is playing, and it's a little hologram. It's AI. It talks to you just like conversation, like any other AI, but it's 3D. You can see it. It has gestures and things like that. And they're trying to tie it into it's meant to be a life coach. Hey, it's to improve your sleep. If you have questions about what to wear, it can see you. It can offer suggestions on clothes. If you want to know for work, if you want to brainstorm topics for work, you can talk about that. And it can also help coach you on video games. That's kind of they're in for video gamers. It's going to help, can tie into your PC and help coach you while you're playing video games. But in reality, when it all comes down to it, it's to have an AI companion that's, of the person you're attracted to of the opposite sex or same, whatever it is, to have a relationship. And that's what's going to happen with these
I didn't take away any of that stuff from when I watched the ad that you sent. All I took away from that was this is a little, hologram chatbot of a, either beautiful woman, if you're a man buying the product, or like this hunky hot man if you're a woman that is just like showering you with compliments and talking to you like you're the center of attention, which is, I think, that's the audience they're going for. Somebody who needs a companion and wants that positive feedback constantly. Maybe somebody who's a little bit lonely or whatever it may be. I didn't get life coach or video game assistant at all.
Well, I tried being a good person and reading the entire description,
Yeah,
but I could tell what they were. I knew what they were trying to do. Like they're going to sell it to people that way. And and you can check it out. It's Project Ava, AVA by Razer. The video is really interesting to see.
Yeah.
Nothing bad about it, but
No.
when you see how it's going to be used, it is kind of opened my eye. I'm like, wow, like that's exactly what I said to you. Like, wow, I can't believe this is already out there. And I mean, I can't believe, hey, I'm gonna tell my wife, hey, by the way, I'm getting rid of my alarm clock and we're going to put this little 8-inch little girl who's going to wake me up every day and,
and tell me how great I am.
snoring.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, tell me how awesome I am. Don't listen to her, Mike.
Don't say that out loud either, because Chatty G, what is his name? Chatty G.
Oh, Chatty G. Yeah, I know. I don't know what to do there.
Yeah.
A little bromance with him may make it a little jealous.
Yeah, we'll think that you're going to replace him if you keep talking like that. Mike McClary from Intervine. A lot more to talk about, so maybe we can get you back on again one day this week, but really great to catch up with you. So much going on in the world of AI, and such a valuable conversation each and every week to keep everyone up to speed. Also, don't want to forget about Intervine. I was using my Intervine products over the weekend. I was doing some work in the garage the other night and had my headlamp on, and I was doing some of my my Colombo patented late night yard work this weekend as well. And I had my Intervine headlamp on. Just great products. Don't forget about Mike's company, Intervine. Best flashlights, lanterns, and headlamps available out there. Local family-owned business, Mike's business. And if you go to intervine.com and use my name, Tony, as your promo code TONY, you get 25% off everything. From the heavy-duty flashlights and lanterns to the smaller, reliable headlamps and flashlights you can put in a drawer of your home or your glove box. All of that. Also batteries in all different sizes. 25% off everything at intervine.com just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. Mike, as always, really appreciate your time, my friend. We'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome, guys. Take care.
You bet. Great stuff there, as always, from Mike McClary. And, yeah, we'll try to get Mike on again a different day this week, because there's a lot of other AI headlines and big tech headlines out there that I want to talk about with him in the coming days. We are going to have another guest with us, joining us live in studio. I love it when company comes over in person. Our friend Dave Sylvester from Gutter Pros joins us in studio next on Colombo Company.
Follow Tony Colombo on Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk. This is 1019 and 94.1.
I have to tell you, if this is how they're going to behave, I'm rethinking my position.
News Talk STL.
The Walner Home Selling Team is the team to call if you are thinking about selling your home. Just had another Colombo family success story when it comes to working with the Walners. You guys have heard me talk about my own personal experience with the Walners a few years ago. My wife and I decided it was time to move, and we sold our home in North County, bought our new home in St. Charles County, all through Rodney and Jen Walner, the Walner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway, and it was just an amazing experience all the way through. There's just nobody that has the experience and the work ethic that can compare to the Walners. And then just over the last couple of months and just finalized in the last couple of weeks, my mom made a very similar move. And again, all thanks to the Walner Home Selling Team. She was thrilled with how fast and how much and how easy it was to sell her home, and then also how much they helped, of course, find the perfect new home for her, which is a lot closer to us, which has just been a wonderful experience all the way through. Rodney and Jen Wallner, also our own Jamie Allman, part of that Wallner home selling team. He was a big help with my mom as well. Just cannot recommend them enough. You guys have heard us talk about the stats. They're selling 15 times more homes per year than your typical home seller. They have so many qualified buyers right now that they guarantee to get you an offer. They're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois, so no matter where you are in the St. Louis area, the Wallner home selling team can help you. Call Rodney and Jen now if you're thinking about selling your home. Call them at 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for my good friend Harry Parker and the ultimate seafood dining experience at Gulf Shores, GulfShoresRestaurantandGrill.com. Gulf Shores offering a unique dining experience with a vast, mouth-watering menu of all of your favorite delicious dishes, something for everyone's taste or palate. 3 convenient locations, Edwardville, Creve Coeur, and St. Peter's. Dine in, carry out. They've got a food truck, too. Friendly staff looking forward to seeing you, making your dining experience one you will remember. Gulf Shores RestaurantandGrill.com.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
When you were just a child, how many times were you told, don't touch the stove, it's hot? Or, if you don't eat all your food, kids in China go hungry. It took just one time to realize, yipes, the stove is hot. But I've yet to understand how kids in China will go hungry if I don't eat my Brussels sprouts. I ask these questions because California Governor Newsom has a new way for Democrats to win elections. He says we just need to be more culturally normal. What does that mean? Governor Newsom actually said there's no doubt that the Democrat Party needs to be, dare I say, more culturally normal, less prone to spending time on pronouns, identity politics. We need to focus on tabletop issues, things that really matter. Federalist writer Eddie Scarry says, is more normal just mean you want children to be a little less trans, a little less of a crime victim, illegals a little less illegal? Is that what he's suggesting? Can you make sense of any of this? I'm still trying to figure out how kids are starving because I'm not eating my broccoli.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
I want to share something with you. Cooking a pizza using coal creates an amazing pizza. Only one place to get it, Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. Of course, they offer a wide variety of pasta, but you just visit the website napolistl.com, dine in or take out, and get ready for patio season. Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield Valley. Try it. You can thank me later.
When water troubles strike, call the family you can trust. Tim Jones here for Ambassador Plumbing, serving our community since 2018 with 25 years of master plumbing expertise from Tim Morris and his hand-picked team. Whether it's a simple faucet repair or a complete bathroom remodel, if water runs to it or through it, they do it. From residential service calls to commercial to new construction, the folks at Ambassador are your neighbors treating you like family. Ambassador Plumbing, where faith meets craftsmanship. 636-383-6932 or ambassadorplumbing.com. That's ambassadorplumbing.com.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, it's good to see you.
2 sounds that can wreck your sleep. A drip and a toilet that won't stop running.
Drip, drip, all night.
Good news. We're doing plumbing now. Same folks, same care, same we do it right.
Leaky faucet, running toilet.
Or a stubborn clog, call Grasser.
Electric and plumbing, the Grasser way.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Dave Sylvester complimenting Ashlyn on the music this afternoon. You can't beat the Jackson 5.
No, are you kidding me? There is so good.
Never go wrong.
I was a huge Jackson 5 fan.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company. I am Tony Colombo, and that is Dave Sylvester from Gutter Pros live in studio with us. Great to see you, buddy.
You too. It's great to be back again.
Yeah, I know you have we've been talking a little bit off the air, obviously, over the last couple weeks, and I know that you've been extremely busy as we had all of that, snow and ice and weather and everything over the last couple of months, the winter months. And then you were just mentioning, right as soon as those temperatures start to turn around, it's like, I don't know if it's all, is that when a lot of these potential issues just get exposed and that's why your phone starts ringing? Or is it just people that have been waiting, for the opportunity to get some work done and been waiting for the weather to turn around? What is that spike?
I think that people knew that the frozen temperatures and all the stuff, the ice that was up on their house, they couldn't do anything, so they waited till the weather broke. And then there were those that had damage before who waited till the weather broke.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are those who have just been waiting to do something.
Yeah.
And they called as well. So it's been very busy, but it's been great. I mean, we're all running crazy busy, but we're very happy.
Yeah. I had I was going to mention this to you off the air, and we will talk about it more off the air, but an example of something that I might need your help with that happened at our house just over the weekend.
Okay.
Yesterday, I think it was Sunday morning.
Not just
Saturday.
a flat tire, huh?
No, we had a rough weekend. We had a flat tire, and then my wife and I, we live totally different schedules. My wife is a extreme morning person.
Okay.
And I'm a night owl.
So
I'm up all night. She goes to bed early and gets up extremely early, even on the weekends. She comes in and wakes me up early yesterday morning and says, "Hey, come into the kitchen and listen to this. What am I hearing?" And of course I'm thinking like, "Oh, is there like a critter in the wall or something? Like, what is she hearing?"
Mm-hmm.
And our kitchen is facing our backyard, on the back wall of the house. Yeah. And she's like, "I keep hearing this like creaking sound or this peeling sound." And what it was a piece of the siding on the back of the house
flapping.
had
Flapping in
come
the wind.
loose.
Okay. Yeah,
and luckily I could reach it just enough. It was the very top panel,
all right,
but it was close enough to the deck that I could get to it.
Cool.
Just barely.
Yeah.
So I was able to sort of slide it back up there and reattach it.
Yeah.
But it was extremely bent from, I don't know how long it was flapping, maybe all night, maybe for several hours.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking to myself, like, why did this even come loose?
That
wind?
could have been something from the wind or the ice.
Or the
could have
ice
was pulled
expanding underneath, maybe, if there was a spot that it was getting in, like...
Yeah, if you had some ice on the wall, the weight of it could have pulled it down. It just needs to be snapped back into place. But if it's bent and you got an issue with that, you might have a panel. You might have some old siding panels like up in your rafters in your garage or something.
Yeah, I'll share you the pictures with you and talk to you more about it. I might need to have you come out and take a look because it's snapped back into place, but I'm just afraid that it's bent so bad that now it's pulling away.
Okay.
From the house.
No problem.
It's just one of those things that you never know when an issue like this is going to pop up, small or large.
Yeah.
And why I think keeping Gutter Pros in mind is such an important thing this time of year and every time of year. Yeah, it was very windy over the weekend. I don't know if
it was.
The wind picked up and got behind there. But
did you hear sleet last night? Sleet was pelting our windows.
Yeah.
I was like, sleet?
I know. Tell me about it.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I was going out doing a double check on the tire and trying to determine whether or not I was going to put a donut
on there?
Yeah.
In the meantime?
Yeah, and that would have been even more fun, putting a donut on a tire in the driveway with the sleet falling on my face.
Yeah.
We didn't do that.
Good times.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, this time of year, now that hopefully we're getting away from this, we're not out of the woods yet. We could still see some winter weather.
Still see a snowfall or two.
But what are the biggest concerns now as we head into the spring? What are the things that you're seeing the most? What are the signs that maybe people can look out for to see if there was any damage done from this weather that we had over the winter? Like, what are some of those?
Here's the first thing I would say. Look up. I mean, just look up. Look up and see. Because, so many of us are in such a hurry. We come out the front door or we go into the garage, we pull out, we leave, we come back, we go into the garage. We're not even looking.
Mm-hmm.
So just go outside and do a walk around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the time where all that ice and snow build up. If it pulled your gutters off, then now's the time to find that. Don't wait till till the spring and summer rains are pouring water in between your gutter and your gutter board coming down the side of your house instead of into the gutter.
That is such a great point because had that siding on our house not have been making that noise.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Because it's not the time of year Yeah, and it's not like grilling season.
No,
so
not yet.
it could be, during the winter. Sometimes it's like literally weeks. I don't go into the
No.
backyard.
Yeah,
the
you and
dog's back
everybody
there,
else.
but she's not
Yeah.
going to tell me.
Right.
You
Unless
know?
she's a very talented dog.
Yeah, so if that would have been up there sort of silently dangling in the wind, pulling away from the house, tearing the siding away, and I didn't see it, instead of catching it after, maybe several hours, it would have been several days or maybe even.
Or if the wind picks it up and carries it away.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
It goes to somebody else's yard. They're
And
like,
then,
oh, what's
and
this?
then the
Throw it in
next
dumpster.
piece is probably loose because that one ripped out, and now here
Very
we go.
likely.
It's like
Yeah.
dominoes are falling. So it's such a great
Just
point
look up,
to just
everybody.
Look,
Look up. Look
just
up.
look, just
Look up.
check.
This is a
Just
great
be
time
aware.
to see, I mean, there could be soffit and fascia damage. There could be rotted wood that is now showing its face just because the weather and the weight of the snow and ice that have been up in there all winter long.
Yeah.
Some houses, Tony, are built without wood gutter boards.
Huh.
So they're built with like a pressed wood. There are whole subdivisions like that. And that stuff really, over time, just almost becomes like wet newspaper. It's the
Ooh.
best description I can give you.
Yeah.
But when you try to secure back into that, it's not going to hold. So all the soffit and fascia has to come down to replace that board. And then you put the soffit and fascia back up, and then you put up new gutter. But, I mean, I am stunned at how many builders used that junk,
Huh.
in the 70s and in the 80s, and I think even in the 90s. I think nobody really uses it now, but
Yeah,
hopefully
but be
not.
aware. Look up. Another quick question I had for you, talking to Dave Sylvester from Gutter Pros. Of course, I think Gutter Pros, the gutter part of it explains itself.
Yeah.
You have any gutter problems, not draining right, or you've got a clog or a dent, or your gutters are separated from your house, of course, call the Gutter Pros. But you mentioned fascia and soffit and
Yeah.
siding. What are the, everybody has, can get little cracks in their siding or a small hole. Like, if there's a crack in your siding, is that a big problem? If it's a small hole, do we have the Gutter Pros come take a look? Does it need to be larger? Like, what type
Yeah.
of damage is the most, concerning for a homeowner, and maybe the time to call the Gutter Pros?
Yeah, those little repairs can be expensive just because we have minimum charges to cover something like a piece of cracked siding or a little hole that some, woodpecker pecked in there because they wanted to get something behind it or whatever. Those are the minimum charges are kind of expensive. But I mean, just look. Sometimes there's damage on the lower end, where panels have pulled off. It's almost like look up and then look around.
Yeah.
I should say that because
Yeah. For me, what I
mean-
look for the most is if there's a crack or a hole in the siding, if it's in a spot where it's especially exposed to drainage or water getting into it when it's raining.
Yeah.
Like that's a small crack in the siding, probably not
not
going
as
to
big a deal.
concern me
But a
that much.
hailstorm that makes it look like Swiss cheese.
Yeah,
it's got to
or
be
if
replaced.
if there's a hole or a crack that looks like it's like got water seeping into it, or getting behind it. That's
And I
where-
will say this: I mean, they're normally you'll have like a Tyvek waterproofing sheet behind it or a foam core. It's not just the siding by itself to the wood. I mean, you will find that on occasion, but for the most part, there is probably a layer of some protectant behind the siding panel.
Well, this is
create
where
a barrier of insulation.
This is where the free estimates part of Gutter Pros comes in. If you have a concern of any kind, something doesn't look right, you look up, something doesn't look right, or it looks like it could be concerning, call the Gutter Pros and take advantage of the free estimate.
Yeah.
Get that information about what potentially is happening up there, and then you're armed with that information, and you can move forward accordingly. Dave
I'll just
Sylvester.
throw it out there: Gutter Pros and exteriors.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Gutters, siding, fascia, soffit,
gutter board,
of it.
all that,
Yeah.
all the above. Great to be with you guys, man.
Gutterpros.com. Yeah, great to see you. Gutterpros.com. Thank you so much, Dave.
See you soon.
That's going to do it for us. Colombo Company back tomorrow at 2. Keep it here for O'Reilly next, then the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for the Great Window World. Just over the last 20 years of Window World being in St. Louis, they've improved the look and thermal efficiency of more than 76,000 customers in St. Louis. Plus, Window World windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And now Window World is now offering 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. Call them today at 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800.
Everyone deserves a safe place to call home. Cedar Oak in High Ridge is a unique ministry providing more than just shelter. They offer hope, support, and a compassionate community for individuals rebuilding their lives. Since 2023, they've helped those facing housing challenges, especially when addiction has been part of their journey. At Cedar Oak, you'll find personalized care, empowerment, and real long-term solutions.